IT jobs side.
Okay, okay. And any reason for selecting BW?
Actually, I don't have any programming languages. I don't have any programming languages. I don't want to write programming and the coding. I don't like that. SAP BW is it's easy to learn and
Okay. So have you attended any demos before on BW?
no, this is the first demo. I attended one or two demos in BW, but the guys is saying BW is not using right now, but all the people is using HANA.
Okay, and you have agreed. I mean, you have decided to join just for BW or BW and HANA as well. Well, in that case, I think you should probably. I'm not referring to complete HANA as such. I'm referring to BW being powered by HANA as a database system, which
Okay.
is very important that you should learn that, because simply doing BW being powered by SQL or Oracle, it is not going to help you. Eventually, you have to upgrade your skills, and HANA is the trending courses, trending technology, and by 2023 or 25, all the companies
Yeah.
using SAP will have to upgrade its database system to HANA.
Okay.
Right? So my suggestion is you should go for a combo course.
Mhm.
Yeah, you were saying something?
Yeah, but HANA is a database and it's a coding language. They want to refer to coding language.
Not
Coding.
necessarily.
Uh-huh.
See, if you are working only as a native HANA consultant,
Okay.
then it is expected that you should know SQL
Okay.
completely.
Okay.
However, with BW and HANA, you don't really have to learn SQL at all.
Okay.
Okay, but as part of the course, as a bonus topic, I normally teach candidates the most basic and simplest of SQL queries,
Okay.
which is as good as learning English.
Okay.
So with all the experiences that we have, whether you're from technical background or not, so the trend in the market is that people who are experienced in BW must know BW and HANA, because most of the projects that you may get now would be migration project,
Okay.
migrating regular BW objects to BW and HANA.
Okay.
So you will eventually have to learn BW and HANA, and when you say we know BW and HANA, then they expect you by default to know something about native HANA as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I will be teaching you the basics of SQL, on how to create a table on HANA database system, how to load data to it, using everything using GUI method. Okay. I'll show you both programming and the GUI method. So it's up to you what you want to hone your skills on.
Oh.
Okay. So that's my recommendation to you.
Oh.
And Anusha, are you joining for the first time, or have you joined my demo session earlier? So I would request you all to follow these guidelines. That is to kindly be on mute while I'm explaining certain topics, and you can unmute yourself whenever you have any doubts. You can use the chat option as well to in case if you're not being audible, you can use the chat box to communicate, and I will appropriately respond to you. And this is basically a demo session for you all, because I'm not sure whether, I know about Chandu, you're attending for the first time, and I'm going to teach you not only just BW, but BW and HANA as well. Okay, so you're going to learn all these concepts, which is very important in order to get a job, a decent job in today's market. All right. So to start with, we need to understand what is SAP? So what is an SAP? SAP is a company, okay? Before you say it's a product or it's a software, it's a company. It is a company which is based in Waldorf in Germany, and it stands for Systems, Application and Products in Data Processing. And this company was founded in the year of 1972 by 5 IBM engineers. And how they came this idea of starting a company? Well, let me give you a small story before we proceed. The story goes like this. There are there are many people who are working as a software developer at that point. Yeah, hi Anusha.
Hi, sir.
Hi, I can hear you now. Nice.
Okay.
So Anusha, did you attend this demo earlier or even you are going for the
No,
first time?
no. This is first time.
Oh, this is first time of yours. Okay. All right. And you have also opted for BW and HANA?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So, what are you doing currently, Anusha?
Means I'm not working, sir. Before I used to work as assistant professor. I completed my BTech and MTech and MBA also. So to get into software side, I want to opt for this course.
I see. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, anyways, I just started off. So, I will explain to you step by step about various things that we'll be working on. And if you have any doubts during my explanation, just unmute and you can ask me straight away. Okay. I was saying SAP is a company founded in the year of 1972, and it was founded by 5 IBM engineers while they were working on a particular assignment. You can say that many clients would come to IBM asking for almost similar software or products, which would allow them to keep track of their finances, sales, marketing, operations, etc. So they were thinking, why do we need to create different applications? Every time a client would say we have to create different applications, every application will run on different database system. Why not give the client one application, one database system, so that they can manage their entire organization on one system? So when they went to IBM with this um, with this idea of theirs, it wasn't entertained. But they were very adamant and they were very optimistic about this idea of theirs. They thought that if we give this solution to the market, people will implement it and it will be SAP. And this is how SAP today is the world #1 ERP product after Oracle. And so SAP has garnered majority of the market share in the ERP product. All right. And what SAP does? So SAP is into, as I said, ERP products, right? What is ERP? Stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise is nothing but a company, and resources are your assets, things that you will have it in a company like manpower, uh, land, offices, chairs, trucks, everything that is movable, everything that has a value, everything that adds value to your organization. And planning is a process which should allow you to design a work process that will allow you to make the most optimum use of your assets for the betterment of the company. That is, there's many organizations are they are investing on their employees by making them participate in some uh, in-house activities, team building activities, communication skills, presentation skills. They'll call people from different parties to give talks, and they will take them out. So all this they are doing so that the mindset of the employees remains positive. They are inclined towards giving their best to the company, because happy employees is equal to equals to happy organization or a profitable organization. So there are people who, we need to invest a lot, and so just employees making employees happy is not enough. We need to enable the infrastructure of an organization that is employee friendly. And so companies which are massive need to invest in a technology that would make their job easier. And this is where SAP plays a vital role. So SAP has created modules, okay, softwares basically, that allows the company to work together, that allows the company to work together. So let me show you some small examples.
Hi, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I'm Pooja joining.
Hi Pooja, this is Adrian here,
Yeah,
and
hi.
I'm the trainer for SAP.
Okay.
Have you attended
Um,
this session earlier, or is this the first time of
no, no.
yours?
Yeah, this is my first session.
Could you just brief me about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I have overall 5.5 years of experience, working experience, and I'm into BI, and it's actually development, Spotify development, where I'm working on. And yeah, I want to move to SAP BW HANA because of less coding and stable life. So yeah, so this is why I'm choosing SAP, and I am
Okay,
seeking. Yeah.
that I'm going to teach you a couple of things. I'm going to teach you SAP BW, which is running on Microsoft SQL or
Right.
Oracle. Then I'm going to teach you SAP BW running on HANA database system. All right.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
reason why we are not teaching you directly BW on HANA, that is because the prerequisite for this
Mm-hmm.
technology is that you should know how BW works in general on
Oh
regular
yeah.
databases, right?
Okay.
Because from the certification standard, BW on HANA is only 25 hours of lecture,
Okay.
all right? Whereas BW on SQL would take
Mm-hmm.
about, say, roughly 45 hours of lecture,
Okay.
okay? So
Yeah.
this is in total, we can say that it's about 70 hours of lecture for us.
Oh, all right.
So in this, what do we cover? We cover BW modeling,
Mm-hmm.
okay, BW object modeling, that is. We cover
Yeah.
the extraction part,
Okay.
extraction of data from various systems,
Right.
okay, like Excel files, flat files, then SAP R3 system,
Mm-hmm.
and HANA system as well, okay.
Yeah.
Then we are going to learn about queries, okay. This is where we will
Right.
define, we will learn how to define queries. Again, this is not where you require any SQL or any programming knowledge. This is completely GUI. We need to use logics over here, okay. There are buttons, there are radio buttons we need to select, and we have to use logics over here. So we're going to learn how to define queries and how to publish reports. Then we are going to do a little overview of SAP HANA. So I'm going to teach you about SAP HANA modeling as well, using the GUI interface as well as SQL script, okay, HANA SQL. In HANA modeling, apart from this, you are also going to learn SAP, you're going to learn, let me write down here, loading of data from plant files, from BW systems, and from SAP R3 system. Okay, and then I'm going to teach you one more bonus topic, which is SAP BODS. So BODS is basically an ETL tool that allows you to extract data in real time from SAP and non-SAP systems. SAP and non-SAP systems to HANA database. So all these concepts are very important, because most of the job that once you get into a project will be either to do with migration of the objects that you created on BW and SQL to BW and HANA, or you may get a project which is completely into designing queries and reports as per the client's requirement, or you may get into HANA modeling as well, wherein the skills or the knowledge that you'll be provided with will be sufficient enough you to survive and to improve. Plus, BODS is an add-on tool for you all. It's not mandatory, but having an additional skills puts you in a better position in the skill set of people being trained with BW. Not many would know BODS as well. So these are few things that will allow you to secure yourself a decent job. And I'll be sharing a lot of interview questions during the lectures. So I recommend everyone, whoever has decided to join the course, to have a book and a pen with you. Because whenever I'll share some of the important points, should probably take it down then and there, rather than waiting for a recorded session to come. And then, you may not probably remember, you may skip those points. And I'll be taking mock interviews now and then to test where you are, what level of skills you are into. And I'll be giving you a lot of real-time scenarios on why we use BW, why we use this object, that object, why do we go for extraction, what are the advantages and disadvantages of it. And I'm also an interview panelist, so I'm going to share some of the tips and tricks so that you can understand how to answer a tricky question. Okay, what are the interviewers looking for when they try to interview a candidate, whether a person with experience or without experience, certified or not certified? What is that we want or we expect from people? So I'm going to share some important points with you all throughout the lecture. And you got to practice, you got to do your assignments regularly. That will allow you to come up with new doubts, with new queries, and this would be a learning experience for all of us over here. So the secret behind becoming a good SAP BW and HANA consultant is practice and understanding of the concepts. These two will define your career. If you follow my guide, if you follow my guidance, whatever suggestions I give you, I can assure you that no matter from which background you're coming, you can actually perform far better than people who are coming with experience. So this is my personal guarantee to you. Okay, if you follow things that I tell you to, and if you sincerely, dedicatedly, religiously do it, you will definitely do well in your career. So I'm telling you out of experience. This is not some buttering up or make you feel good kind of talk. This is the fact. I don't joke around with people's future. So people who have decided to join should consider this as your career option, and you should not allow any kind of influence, thoughts that would distract you or divert you. Okay, there is a great future in SAP. There's a great future in BW, and there's a great future in BW and HANA. So let me just give you some brief.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Do you deal with, means you will explain about BW and HANA in that integration, BW integration with HANA also, sir?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to explain, give you an overview right now after I finish with the basic theoretical part. And you will get to see the look and feel of how BW looks like and what is difference between BW SQL or BW and HANA, what is HANA, what is BODS. I'll show you everything today so that you will have a better understanding that what are the topics, what are the tools that you'll be learning in this entire 70 hours of class. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Perfect. So before we proceed with the overview of the systems, let me just give you a theoretical overview of what to anticipate. So SAP has functional modules, technical modules, and new dimensional modules. Under functional, we have modules about sales and distribution, material management, finance and controlling, production planning, quality assurance, plant maintenance, etc., etc. Yeah, you have HR as well. Under technical, we have modules like ABAP, which is a native programming language for SAP. So anyone who is interested into programming should probably try their luck, or not luck, I'm sorry to use that word, probably try to understand a little bit about ABAP. This is a massive course, and you require some basic knowledge of C++ or Java in order to understand ABAP. Then the next technical is the basis. Basis is a module, and they are important consultants, and without them we cannot start working on SAP. So these guys are the network and the admin specialist. Their job is to implement the systems, enhance security, transportation of objects, authorization, etc., etc. So these guys who are the ones who lay down the foundation. ABAP are the ones who tweak the foundation. Functional guys are the one who starts with the configuration of the system, and then comes the BW part. So BW guys are the ones who will work on the data that is being generated by these guys, and then give a report to the customer. All right. Simultaneously, apart from BW, you have another BI tool called as SAP BOBI. Okay, Business Object Business Intelligence. This is purely a reporting tool. BW, I'll explain about BW. It is a warehouse and a reporting tool, but BOBI is purely a reporting tool, and you require SQL over here at still a certain extent. Then comes, okay, this is all about technical part. Yeah, you also have BODS. Again, an ETL tool where you require SQL. If you are focusing completely into learning ETL tool, then you should know SQL for that. So in all of this, BW is a model which is pretty safe. It does have ABAP functionality within it, but it is not mandatory that a BW consultant should know ABAP. So we should understand the requirement on when to call an ABAPer to assist us in designing a particular object. But it's not important for us to know ABAP, because ABAP requires people from software background. Then the new dimension models are CRM, customer relationship management, supply chain management, strategic enterprise management, supplier relationship management, business process and consolidating, advanced planning and optimization, etc., etc. These are all, newly introduced tools. So they do a job of, whoever are into SD, they can easily upgrade their skills to CRM. People who are into material management or production planning can get into SCM, supply chain management, and so on and so forth. All right. So now coming back to the point that I told you, that all the functional modules, they are the guys who, keep track of day-to-day activities. All of these modules are integrated into a system called as SAP R3. Okay, they're integrated into a system called as SAP R3, which we now call it as SAP ECC. ECC stands for Enterprise Central Component. Okay. So now, before HANA was introduced, SAP R3, okay, was considered as a client database system. So SAP R3, which consists of all these modules, used to run, or is still running, on Microsoft SQL, Similarly, BW, bots, they're all running on Microsoft SQL or Oracle, and so are these tools. So now the idea of HANA came into existence from the year of 2009. Was introduced in the year of 2009. So what they thought is, we already have a tool that does the job of, warehousing and reporting and analysis. Then we have a particular system that captures day-to-day business activity. How about we combine both of these together? Why not make our own database system? So that was the idea, which the idea was to combine the OLTP system plus OLAP system. You must be wondering what is OLTP and what is OLAP. Well, any database system that generates day-to-day business activities, it's called as OLTP. OLTP stands for Online Transaction Processing System. Transaction means the activity which is happening on regular basis, whereas OLAP stands for Online Analytical Processing System. So Pooja is working on Spotfire, a BI tool, right? So any BI tool is classified as an OLAP tool, as an OLAP system. Do you agree with this, Pooja?
Yes, yes, I do understand this.
Perfect. So all the day-to-day business transactions are recorded by these guys, okay, by these functional consultants, which eventually get stored in Microsoft SQL. And so does all of these models. They're all being powered by Microsoft SQL. So what is that to do with HANA? Let me just give you a small example. Let's say this is our computer, okay, a screen monitor, and this is our CPU, for example, okay. The CPU consists of hard disk, and it is powered by RAM, okay, and of course it has a processor. So and this will have a operating system or a GUI. So now SAP ECC is installed, okay, in this hard disk. MS SQL is installed as a database layer, okay, and in this database layer SAP ECC is also configured. The front end system what we use to load the data is called as SAP NetWeaver GUI. It's a software, okay. Using this GUI, using this interface, the functional consultants like SD, MM, etc. will enter the data. This data gets stored into the hard disk, of course using SQL database structure, RDBMS structure, okay, which then is loaded into the RAM, and through RAM it is read into the system. Okay, so this process is very similar to what you have in your regular desktop, even in the laptop. So if, for example, if you're working on a Word document, so there is an interface for you, right? You go to Word document, you open up an application, you write stuff into it, you save it in your desktop. You save it in a desktop, but it gets saved in the hard disk. Okay, then it is being read through the RAM for you. That is why it is faster. The reason why we keep upgrading our RAM is to have data processing faster. So what SAP realized is the process of loading the data or writing the data into the hard disk takes a lot of time. Okay, takes a lot of time. Comparing with the time taken by the RAM, okay, or comparing the time taken for the system to read data from the RAM. So if this takes 90% of the time, reading the data from RAM takes only 10% of the time. So this kind of raised several eyebrows. They thought, hang on. So if the time taken to load the data on a hard disk takes 90% of the time, and RAM takes only 10% of the time, why not cancel this process? Why not save 90% of the time by loading the data directly into the RAM? And this idea gave rise to HANA. So the reason HANA is different because HANA is not a database. People say HANA is a database, but HANA is not a database, it is an appliance. Why is it an appliance? Or what is an appliance? Now, if you talk about radio, these days you have FM, right, on your mobile. Or if you talk about your television, smart television, if you talk about micro oven, or maybe even your refrigerator these days, do you agree that all of these applications that we use today, appliances that we use today, has their own software? Nowadays, TV has its own software, mobile has its own software, right? Every application, appliance that we use today has their own software, which is designed for that particular appliance only. Similarly, in order for any database system to run HANA, it has to be HANA compatible. Thus, HANA has its own hardware. Okay, HANA has its own hardware, and there are very few people who are authorized to, okay, I don't have it here. Let's see if I have anywhere else. Okay, don't have it here with me. So very few people, very few companies like Cisco or HP or IBM, Dell, etc., are authorized by HANA to create the database system. Okay, so this is the reason. And so what is different between the regular database system and HANA database system? MS SQL is installed or it is run on a hard disk, whereas HANA is run on RAM. Therefore, it is called as in-memory system. All right. So here we will have, if, for example, if I'm talking about 100 terabytes of hard disk space, and RAM, I'm talking about 100 GB of RAM. Here, the RAM itself will be about 100 terabytes in size. Okay, it does have hard disk. It does have hard disk, but it is purely used for backup. It's purely used for backup. And there, because the data is stored in the RAM, the data is always online. The data is always available, ready to read, and which increases the data loading and the reading time 10 times faster than the regular RDBMS system. Okay, and that is why HANA is called as an appliance, because it has its own hardware. You cannot replicate it. However, the system that we get to use for practice are the regular database system. So the performance wise, you'll find a great difference between working in the IDES system that we work here and the real system that you will work when you get into a job. The speed will vary a lot. So here we try to tweak things, okay, by making it compatible for HANA, but it is not something a real organization would prefer working on. Is everyone clear so far? so far? The technical difference between, in simple terms about MS SQL and HANA? Okay, great. So let me show you the system straight away. Let me show you what I mean. So here we have SAP NetWeaver software. Okay, that's a button called as SAP Logon, and we need to double click on it. You see SAP NetWeaver GUI. The version that we are using is 7.4. So now here we have ECC, here we have BW being powered by SQL and BW powered by HANA. So let me show you ECC and the modules that I was talking about. So we'll be provided with the username password. We will use that to log on into the system. This area is called as the address bar. This is where we are going to enter the commands. In simple words, they are called as transaction codes. Okay. So the transaction code is RSA 6, for example. You can see SAP R3 here. See how many different modules SAP supports. SAP is for industries, for RFID, for retail fashion, for recruitment, even for healthcare, for research. So many companies, telecommunication, media companies, even Bangalore Police uses SAP, Coca-Cola, Samsung, Ferrari. They're all US Army. They're all using SAP. Okay, so SAP is a big deal. It's not something we should take it lightly. So let's go to SAP R3. And if you see here, I spoke to you about SD earlier, sales and distribution, right? Quality management. Then we have material management. This is to do with HR, these things. So this is production planning here. Time, payroll, and personal management, training management are to do with HR modules. So there are several models, and as part of the course, we need to understand at least 2 modules. So I am going to teach you about what material management is and what is sales and distribution. Okay, what are the database table for these 2 modules? Okay, how does data enter into these database table? And how do we take the data from this modules to BW system? Okay, so how do we do this? What is the reason behind doing this? So all of this we are going to learn. And if you say that you do not have any experience of these modules, then you cannot consider yourself as a complete BW consultant. It is very important that as a BW consultant, we should be aware of at least 2 modules, because your job will have a lot to do with these guys, with the functional guys. You run reports for the organization. Organizations is basically that comprises of sales team, marketing team, finance team, HR team, etc. All of these guys, the head departments, the head people of these departments, they want to keep track of their day-to-day businesses happening in their respective modules. So you will have to know the knowledge. So you should know at least 2 of these modules, which I'm going to teach you through and through, so that you'll have a very good understanding when you talk to a sales guy or when you talk to a material guy. You'll know what kind of communication you should have. So those are things which we'll be using. So, and let me show you how a database table looks like for anyone who is curious. So I'm going to enter another transaction code, that is SE11, which is going to pull up a page that would allow me to view the database tables. So I'll write a database table, say Mara, okay, and I'll say display. So Mara is basically where you get material data. So all the material related information are stored in this particular database table by the functional consultants. We are not doing any data entry work. Our only job is to extract data. Anyways, let us look at the data and how it looks like. You click on this button that says execute. How can we know the transaction codes? Well, I'll be telling you all the transaction codes that you need to remember as a BW consultant. All right. Let's wait till this shows up the output. All right. As you can see, there are several records that you're able to view. Okay, so these are all material details. Okay, these numbers have a description. If you click on the small button here, it will show you what does that material stands for. So yeah, these are all the various material names. So you can go for material description. Okay, so this is the material details. Okay, so these numbers have a description that signifies the nature or the name of the material. So these all of this thing are being configured by the functional guys. So you don't have to worry that, oh, do I have to add this data? No, we in fact have very less to do with ECC system. Only job with ECC system is to extract data from here. Okay, now why do you need to extract data from here? A very important question I need to explain to you. Let's say I have several modules, right? We have sales and distribution, we have material management, for example, and each of the modules have several database tables, have several database tables, and the functional guys have been loading information into it from the past, say 8 years. So now you can imagine that overall records in these database table would be say about 20 crores of data. Okay, and then suddenly the client comes and asks you, I want to see the data for the year of 2016 till date, till the till date, and he wants to see only particular location. Okay, particular location for, and he wants to see for few selected materials. He wants to see the detail about the customers who has purchased and the vendors who has given us the raw material. He wants to see the sales performance. Okay, between this year and this year, for all the materials as per the location, and most importantly, he wants to see the data month-wise. Now, this is a very complicated requirement put forth by the client, right? Now, each of these modules will have their own standard reports. Okay, they will have their own standard reports. But the problem here is these reports are not customizable. Plus, if you have to run reports in ECC itself, it has to read 20 crores of records and then finally try to give you the output, which is going to take forever. Even if you choose ABAP as a programming language to design a report, you will have to write lakhs and lakhs of lines of code to read the data. And this is where your BW comes into the picture. So what BW does from all these different database tables, which is in your ECC system, we are going to create a small table of our own. Okay, we are going to create a small table of our own, and as per the client's requirement, I'm going to pull only that requirement. So I will pull data from 2016 to 17 for a particular location, for a particular month, customers, vendors. Okay, and this table, which has this filtered information, I am going to migrate it to BW system. Okay, this data source or table, for example. based on the table that I replicated from ECC, I'm going to create a data target in BW, okay, which I will call it as an object. And then I will use a tool that would allow me to connect the table from ECC to the data target in BW. And using a tool called ETL, that stands for extraction, transformation, and loading, I'm going to extract the data from the ECC system and load it to the data target. And then I'm using the tool called Business Explorer. Using this tool, I'm going to define the query and publish this query and send it to my client. Now, since we have understood the use of BW, let me show you the database system. So if I'm going to go to status, now we are into ECC system, and if you notice that the database system here is MS SQL. Okay, so that proves my point that all these tables are created, or in the backend system it is the MS SQL. So all these records are actually stored in MS SQL, that is in a hard disk. All right, so close the ECC system now, and we'll log on into BW powered by SQL. The same interface. If I go to system, if I go to status, you will see it is being run on MS SQL, and it is using SAP NetWeaver 7.5 version. Okay, 7.5. Now the transaction code to start with BW modeling is RSA1. RSA1. All right. So you'll see these options over here. Under modeling tool, we are going to be learning how to design objects. You can see if I right click on this green color structure, which we call it as an info area, okay, which is like a folder on which I can create and store all these objects. So what you see here, they're all objects. Each object has a special feature of its own. Let me show you how easy it is to create an object. I'm just going to click on create DSO, and then I will give a name, some random name, and click on create option. You see, that's it. No writing of code, nothing. And here, these are several folders here wherein I need to add fields. Fields like customer ID, age, gender, location, etc., etc. Those fields, we call them as info objects. Okay, so we are going to see how to design this info object. See here, now I'm just going to drag and drop from here to here. Okay, or let me just refresh this. There you go. See, as simple as that. Just drag and drop. Okay, and all we have to do is check for errors. It is green, it is consistent, and then activate this. Of course, the thing that you need to remember is, though the practical seems to be easy, we need to understand the concept behind why we need to create a DSO and what is the use of DSO, how it is going to benefit our report or the organization on a whole. Notice that we just created this object with this name SD. And if I go here, you'll see that object right over here. See, SD. And if you double click, you'll see all the objects over here. So as I told you earlier that we're going to learn how to extract data from R3 system and all. So how does the data flow looks like? You see here? This is how the data looks like. So this is our source system. This is our data source. So this source system can be your ECC, and this data source or table it is coming from ECC. And then based on this, I'm going to create a data target. This is my data target. All right. So I have created, people have created multiple data targets on top of this. So there are reasons why we'll go for this hierarchy, but it's not that you need to follow this process every time. This is optional, completely scenario based. So once we have connected the source with the table, on this we are going to define query. All right. Is everyone following? Shall I proceed further? So we are going to create these many objects here. Now, what is BW on HANA? And why it is only 25 hours of lecture? Let me prove it to you. The same T code we are going to use, that is RSA1. And you'll notice that the entire interface is exactly as we saw BW being powered by SQL. Now, how do we know this is running on HANA? Go to Systems, go to Status, you'll notice HDB, that stands for HANA Database System. Okay? And here, almost every objects are the same. The only difference over here with SQL is the structure, the architecture of the DSO. So what is different? The tabular structure for the DSO, for the info cube is different. It has been optimized to be faster and better than the objects being created on SQL or Oracle. So we're going to learn a few differences. Plus, this system is also optimized to extract data from HANA database system. Okay. Plus, all these objects that we are creating on BW application, these objects can be migrated to HANA system as well. So let me show you HANA. So this is the application. So as I told you, HANA is an appliance. It uses its own software. It doesn't use SAP NetWeaver GUI. Okay, it uses its own software. So we will click on this particular application. And here you see we're using HDB, HANA database system. Okay, let me show you. Let me log on into the system. So, all right. Now here we have catalog and content provisioning security. So we don't really have to work on all of this. Our job is to work on only these two folders. Now I'll use catalog when I want to create a database table on HANA. Okay. And you see this colorful structure over here. This is like your info area. It's like a folder on which you create stuff. If you drill this down, you'll see that I have an option called as tables. Okay. Now, when you right click on it, you can create a table using an SQL console, or you can create a table using a GUI. Okay. If you click on new table, so this is a little different than the BW modeling part. Okay. But this is also easier. It's not difficult at all. So I'll just say sample table. And I'll just say customer number. Then I'll say customer age, customer location. And all I have to do is click on execute button. You see, it says that it has been successfully executed. So if you just refresh the table here, you'll see the sample table. See here, guys? Since we haven't loaded any data, so if I go to open data preview, this is how you will get to see the object. So this is a database table, and we'll learn how to load data into this particular table using our import option or using our SQL. Also, if you want to see the code behind this table, just right click and say export SQL. You see, getting to learn about code is so simple. I can simply use any database table and say export SQL, and I'll get to see the code behind it. So I'm going to show you basics about these things as well. All right. And then after this, we are going to learn about views. Okay. So when I right click here, you can notice that I can create these views. Now, why do we use these views? What is attribute view, analytical view, and calculation view? What is the purpose of these views? Remember, guys, never you will be able to run a report directly on a database system. You cannot use a database table for presentation. You'll always have to depend on a BI tool. Okay, and therefore we have these views. These views are the top layer that will be used to present reports and do analysis. Under these views, you will be actually having database tables. So these views are used for reporting, for representation work. Are we clear? So I'm going to teach you these three views. Okay. So apart from this, we are also going to do BW modeling on HANA database, directly on HANA. So you see this option BW modeling, just click on it. Let's close all of these. Okay, let's log on. Now, if you say, if you go to backend favorites, you'll see my name over here, Aided Info area. And if you go to BW on HANA, you will see here Adrian Info area. See, all the objects that I've created under this particular info area will be also be found over here. See here, everything. For example, VP for HANA model. Check out here, VP for HANA model. So I'm going to teach you how to create new objects. So these are something new in BW and HANA. Now you can see the GUI, right? You can see this part. So I don't really have to go to the SAP GUI. I can directly do the modeling part here, and I can also view it right over here. So it's a very, very interesting concept. If you just, if these things are very important and very interesting. And the difference between BW and SQL is, if you're running on BW and SQL, there is no direct connectivity to HANA. You will have to use a tool called BODS to extract data from HANA to BW being powered by SQL. But if you're working on BW on HANA system, you will have direct access to all the HANA models. Here, everything that we created, you can have access to HANA model straight away. That means BW on HANA can not only extract data from ECC system, but it can also extract data from HANA system. So these are very interesting concepts. If you start learning, you will really enjoy all these topics, and they're very technical. At the same point, it will always keep you on edge. What more do we have to learn, and how interesting it can get. Well, the last topic here is we are going to learn about BODS. As I told you, that's a bonus lecture for you all, which is actually not part of the course, even it's from certification standard, but I still teach my candidates so that you should be aware of things things. These days it's all about multiple skills. You cannot survive just with one skill. You need to know more than one skill. Okay. So let's log on over here. Click on OK. So what you see here, there are tables. Yeah, they're basically tables. If you see this table, it is coming from HANA. Okay. This table is coming from ECC, I believe. This is coming from HANA, and this is okay. You see here? So we are trying to replicate data from, for example, from ECC to HANA system. So you don't really have to do data modeling in HANA or table. You can straight away copy database table from a different system and create a table directly into HANA system. So we are going to learn about this part as well, and what is this query? How do we connect two tables over here? How can we add some SQL script over here to ensure that the data is coming properly? So we are going to learn many of them. We are going to see how to extract single table, multiple tables using Excel files, flat files for HANA system. So these all skills will most certainly give you an edge, which is so required in today's market. There are people who knows many things, but they're not skillful enough. They're not very flexible. It's not that it's their fault. It's that there is no proper guidance in today's market. So it's all about finishing the course fast and making this course as short as possible. But we need to wonder, how can a course of that magnitude, which has such a demand in the market, be so small? Okay, there are a lot of theoretical concepts. There's a lot of new additions that we all need to be aware of. So this course can take anywhere between 50 to 70, not 50, so 60 to 70 hours, depending on the number of hours you're spending on each topic. So guys, do you all have any questions? Yes, Anusha.
No problem with the explanation, but the screen is not clear. As you are saying to that see here like that means I'm not able to see the letters of here.
Is everyone facing the same issue?
Yeah.
Oh, Chandu, you're not able to follow my screen?
Yeah, I follow, but his screen is very small and the letters is not. Look at
Letters
the.
are not clear, sir.
But I am actually having a pretty decent speed here. Pratik, is the same thing with you?
Actually, I am able to see clearly.
Okay. Then
You take classes BW and BW HANA is parallel or finish one by one?
no, one by one. You can't do it parallel. So first we'll finish learning BW, then it is easier for us to understand BW and HANA. And I'll be sharing you all some of the interview questions. I'll be sharing you all few profiles so that you get an idea of how a BW CV looks like, what are roles and responsibilities. I'll be sharing some tickets with you all so that you understand what kind of issues a BW consultant faces and how to resolve those issues. So it'll be like a complete question and answer kind of documents for you all, which will definitely help you in your interviews as well. And I'll be giving a small project work as well. If you are able to do that project work on your own, you can consider yourself with, as a BW consultant with at least 2 to 3 years of experience.
I want to keep some real-time experience because I'm having gap in my career.
Yeah, that's what. No, I totally understand. That's why I always give this project work. So if you're able to do that, you'll understand the complete data flow. of how your job comes into the picture, what task you are doing. Because see, interview they are going to ask you one thing: it's what kind of reports have you worked on? So that's one question to a very, it's a very small question to a very. So when they ask you the what report, they are expecting which module have you worked on, which data source tables have you worked on, what data targets have you defined, what kind of queries you have defined. Everything comes down, everything comes down in one question. So if you are able to perform reports on your own, which I will teach you, of course, you will be able to give a positive answer for such kind of questions. Couple of topics which you can practice for the remaining days until we join back again.
Yeah, I guess that would be fine. At least we will have time to practice whatever you will teach us, so it would be fine.
Okay, great. Well, all of you can share your opinions with the organizer, and if you have any more queries, you can let them know, and I'll try to cover up the next time we meet. I hope you have understood the overview of what SAP is, what BW, what HANA is, and I hope that you have found. The reason I show this so that you don't feel surprised or sometimes I can use the word cheated, because I've been told that before, right? So you didn't tell there is this and there is that. So I rather make it clear in the beginning of the class itself. So these are things which you will have to, which you will be learning, and these are the interfaces. This is the SQL code that you'll be learning. I want you to take time, understand all these concepts. You can ask for the recorded session of this demo video if you want to go through it once again. And once all of you all have decided, we'll start a batch. I can assure you one thing, that from me, you're going to learn everything real time. There is no textbook approach over here. Every discussion we have will be from a scenario base of what you should anticipate when you will be, getting into a project. So you'll be taught from the scratch. I'm not going to straight away on a professional level. We'll start very basic, explaining you every topic theoretically, and then taking you to practical part of it, so that you will have an idea what to anticipate in the coming days. Okay. If you're able to find some time for yourself for BW, then that should prepare you for interviews right from day one.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Thanks.
All right. Cool. Okay, guys, it's getting very late for me. I'm super hungry now. I'm still at office, so I would, take my leave. Whatever doubts you may have, please do contact me. Guys around. So till then, take care, guys. Good night. Bye.